Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's John with Vision 365 Financials. Today I brought you guys on another little adventure and trip. Today we're over here in Biloxi, Mississippi. We're in the harbor area, so you can see. Let me turn this around and show you guys all the boats and the ships out here. Pretty neat, really. And then we have a pretty decent place to eat at right over there as well. And we have all these ships in here. We're gonna walk down that way as well. I wanted to show you guys, there's that, it's like a cool island too. It's off to the side over there. We may try to see about getting over there, and low tide, you can go over there no problem. Not obviously through this part, it's a little deep, but there is a way to get over there further down that way, so we may check that out. But today's video is gonna be on interest rates and kind of where we see them, where they're headed, and inflation as well. And we're going to group it all together with the mortgage interest rates, and then we're also going to cover a little bit of the consumer debt as well. So just recently, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the end of the fiscal quarter, ended up getting a raise because he basically increased JP Morgan's profit margin by quite a bit this last past year. And so his salary raise now went from some 29 million to 33 million now a year salary, right? Crazy, right? So obviously he's getting richer while some of the employees are suffering. Man, guys, look at this. It's pretty cool. Just look at that. It's a gorgeous day out there on the beach. So another thing that he's also predicting is by, look at all those boats, is by this year he predicts anywhere from 4 to 6 rate increases at the Fed. And that is going to go into effect. They're planning it March, although Jerome Powell has a meeting scheduled for the 25th and 26th of this month. And that's when they're going to discuss rates, of course, across the board. And also not just in the United States, but also globally. So that's going to be interesting how that kind of shakes the market, if it does, and kind of seeing where that goes. So there's a lot of investors, whether it be in the stock market, bond market, and also real estate market, that are really looking at that to see if that's going to get a rate increase put into effect at the end of this month in January, or if they're going to push it off until March like they were originally saying. So it's going to be really interesting to see where that goes. Now then also, I want to bring this to you guys' attention. So the rate increases for mortgages. So it reached its 9-year high this past month. So in into December and going into January, it reached an all-time high for a 9-year high. So now we're seeing the 30-year fixed at about 3.64 to a 3.85 versus it was about a 3.25 about just a month prior or less, and that's for a 30-year fixed prime rate. So we're seeing, guys, already that the mortgage rates are definitely skyrocketing and going up a lot. And honestly, by reading multiple news articles on it, from anywhere from CNBC to The Hedge to market analysis as well, they don't really know. But the real thing is to realize is inflation. To combat inflation, they have to bring the interest rate up. And, just like some of the billionaires around the world are saying, and also not edge out Ray Dalio as well, famous investor, they're going to have to bring interest rates to 6 to 7% at the Fed rate to be able to combat the current inflation that we're seeing right now. So in order for them to do that, they're basically going to have to raise interest from 0 to 0.25% right now at the Fed rate to 6 to 7 if they really want to combat the true inflation rate. And I just don't see them doing that. And most analysts out there, analysts, also don't see that. Most people right now see that they're probably going to increase maybe by like 2 percentage points possibly this year, and that's like at the most, right? And so by the end of the year, we could see about a 2 to 3% at the Fed rate. But honestly, if we're gonna get rid of this inflation, they're gonna have to push it to 6 or 7% and just get it over with. because a couple percent, yeah, it could shake the markets pretty good, but you know that the plunge protection team, which is buying $120 billion in 80 billion in treasuries and bonds and 40 billion in stock derivatives, is going to be at it, basically making sure that that market does not collapse. Even though they've already talked about the Fed tapering that off this year, they have like some $9 trillion on their balance sheet that they need to get rid of over the next couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how they offload all of that and kind of where that brings our markets. But then also another thing, I just saw a recent survey, but before that, check this out. It's like a cool little moat almost on the water. Pretty neat. Let's see if you guys can see that. Oh yeah, pretty neat, huh? And then you have all these boats in the harbor. Pretty cool. You don't really notice like some recessionary things down here on the Gulf Coast as much. It's kind of a steady economy more than anything. It's a lot different, but also the economics down here is way different because you have a lot more people that are, you know, in the poverty rate, but they're used to this standard of living as well. So it's a lot different compared to the West Coast and California right now, what we're seeing. And so basically, like down here on this coast, if you make $60,000 a year, shoot, you're doing really well. Versus if you're in California, especially Southern Cal, you know, if you make $60,000, you're definitely in the poverty line. You could make $150,000 and still not be doing that well over there. So it's just a difference in economies, right, guys? But I read a recent study, right? And it was, I believe it was on The Hedge, and then also CNBC also had it as well. It's a couple, about a week old or so. And it was regarding the consumer debt over these past few years, right? And the consumer debt over the past few years has been, I got my numbers exact, I don't want to forget them, but credit card debt is about $6,000 in the United States right now. So $6,000, guys, is right now for the consumer debt for credit cards, right? And then, not to mention, so total debt as a whole, you know, including a mortgage in America right now, is definitely over the 250,000 mark if you take the average. But across the board, I just want to hit on some of these numbers. Personal loans are at about 16,500 that consumers are in that amount of debt, right? And then also, and we're talking like credit cards and personal loans. That's a high interest rate right there. I know because I've had them, and I mean, I'm still making sure that I'm becoming debt free on my own credit cards, but you know, that's high interest, and it's only going to go higher, especially as we see the inflation, the interest rate tick higher at the Fed as well. The creditors are going to increase their prime rates as well. And then, not to mention auto loans. We're sitting about $20,000 across the board in the United States right now for people in auto loans. Man, look at that. It's like a gorgeous day out there. The seagulls are loving it. The sun's hitting the ocean just fine right here in the bay. You have a few boats way out there. Pretty cool. Gorgeous day. Pretty nice view, guys. You have the Island View Casino, the Hard Rock over there, and then you also have the famous Bayou as well, and the Beau Rivage. So that's like a place you can stay in, and hotel and casino where you can come down here on the Gulf Coast. Really nice area. So anyways, we have that, right? And then, not to mention student loan debt. Student loan debt, guys, that's like one of the huge, they call it an asset now in the United States government that the American population has. That's not an asset, guys. An asset is something that brings you in money. That's a horrible debt to have. And you know, many of these people aren't even going to pay those off in the near future. And that average across America is about $40,000 as of the start of the year, which is insane. And then also, we take it to a HELOC, so a home equity line of credit. So people right now, because of all of the increases in their real estate, have really been taking advantage of HELOCs. And so rather than, you know, paying down their mortgage or paying it off, they're using HELOCs and basically going and getting a fancy renovation of their home when, you know, the lumber prices, even though they've come down this past year alone, though, when they were sky high, you know, they were paying a fortune for this, right? And they're taking that money out and basically spending it more into their property, which, yeah, I give them that it's an investment in some ways, but not really when you consider that the value is artificially inflated and the amount you're paying for those services are extremely high as well. So we're going to see a lot of that, and we've already seen a lot of that, and that's just going to basically take more equity away from the people holding the mortgage that do that, and they're going to be in even more debt. And especially it'd be interesting to see what their interest rates are on those HELOCs. And then also, because some of those are ARMs, or adjustable rate, and the adjustable rates now are becoming even more popular, and they go up every 6 months. So very dangerous, guys. And then also mortgages. So mortgages in the United States, about $209,000 in debt as of the end of the year. So that's a lot, guys. That is a lot of money. And then you couple all of those personal loans, credit card debt, you know, we're sitting at what, 25, 30,000 average. And then you get into all of the other stuff as well. And, you know, we're looking at easily, you know, over $250,000 to $300,000 for the average American. So how is the average American going to survive this impending inflation raise and just the inflation with it being 15 to 20% real inflation? It's hard to say, guys, right now, but it's a very calm, beautiful day here on the Gulf Coast. Not too far from the Beau Rivage over there. You can kind of see it over there in that huge hotel. You see the cranes up. I don't see anybody working, but it also is Saturday, so it's the weekend. I just wanted to kind of take you guys on a little adventure. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I got much more to talk about and share with you guys. If you're not already, please consider subscribing. Also hit that like button if you like this kind of material. Drop a comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I really want to hear what your guys' ideas are about everything happening. And that also really kind of give me some feedback as well. So I really appreciate you guys, and I want to make sure that, you know, going into this crash, you guys don't crash, but if anything, you guys are preparing, right? So you guys are preparing in your security, you're making sure you're providing, you know, ample resources and food and whatnot for your family, especially as we look back at what happened in Texas about a year ago. And then also this channel is everything about how to prosper and profit from the financial collapse, and also well into the future after that. So if any of those things interest you, retiring early, financial freedom, please subscribe to the channel. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. And you guys tell me how it is.